Hello and welcome to English with Chris. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to speak more like a native. Have you ever been on holiday to a native-speaking country and struggled to understand what the natives were saying? Or maybe you've been to a business conference and you just couldn't follow what the speaker was saying? Well, this is because when natives speak to each other, they use lots of advanced concepts that English learners don't learn until they get to more of an upper intermediate or advanced level of English. Things like using idioms, phrasal verbs, collocations, slang. But one of the main reasons I found that English learners struggle to understand natives is because natives often join words together or shorten them to create new words. These are called contractions or reductions. And that's what I'm going to teach you about today, because it's very important to expose yourself to these types of sentences and formations if you ever want to improve to an advanced or a proficient level of English. Contractions are when we join two words together to create a new word. For example, I will becomes I'll, or do not becomes don't, or they had becomes they'd. And this new word forms a word that it's okay to use in spoken and in written English. However, a reduction is when we join two words together to create a new word that's more of a slang term or an informal word that should only be used in conversation. It definitely should not be used in formal writing or in exams or essays or stuff. For example, want to becomes wanna, or do you becomes dear. Now there are many contractions in the English language. I'm going to go through a few of them now, some of the more commonly used ones, and it's going to be a practical exercise as well in which you can get involved in. So I'm going to give you a sentence without any contractions, and I would like you to have a little think about it and think how you could say this sentence with some contractions. So we'll start off really easy. We will go there if it does not rain. So you can pause the video now to have a little think about it if you have to. So the sentence with some contractions is, we'll go there if it doesn't rain. The next one is, you must not forget to do your homework or you cannot go to the party. And this sentence with contractions is, you mustn't forget to do your homework or you can't go to the party. Or as an American might say, you can't go to the party. Apologies for that terrible American accent. Now getting a little bit more difficult. You should not have coughed on the bus. Now they will all hate us. So this sentence with contractions is, you shouldn't have coughed on the bus. Now they'll all hate us. And my last sentence here is, I would have bought you a beer if you had not just been sick. And the contracted form of this is, I would have bought you a beer if you hadn't just been sick. So just before moving on to looking at reductions, I'm going to show you some of the most common contracted forms on screen so that you can look at them, write them down, practice using them. Because if you want to start sounding more like a native, these are some of the things that you have to understand and start to put into practice and use in conversation. But if you want to go full-on native, you need to start using reductions in your language. And we're going to learn these reductions by breaking them down into different categories to make it a little bit more manageable. And the first category we're going to look at is using a verb plus to. For example, want plus to. This becomes wanna, like I wanna go to the pub or I wanna have a coffee. And in the third person singular, like she wants to, this becomes she wants to or he wants to. Like he wants to go to the football match, but she wants to go to the theatre. The next one is going to, and this becomes gonna. This is really common, maybe the most common reduced form. For example, I'm gonna go home or I'm gonna do my homework. Strangely, something my students never say. And the last one in this category is got to, and this becomes gotta. Like I have gotta have a break, or I have gotta go on holiday. The next category we're going to look at is verb plus have, like should have. And the contracted form of this is should've, but the reduced form is shoulda. So you will very often hear natives say things like, you should have done your homework, or you should have worn a better shirt. Okay. The next one is could have. The contracted form of this is could have, and then the reduced form is coulda, like you could have got me a coffee as well. The next one is would have. The contracted form of this is would have, and the reduced form is woulda, like I would have made you a coffee if I liked you. The next one is might have. The contracted form of this is might have, and the reduced form is mighta, like I might have found a better job. And the last one in this category is must have. The contracted form of this, as we've already looked at today, must have, and the reduced form is musta, like somebody must have farted. It smells horrible in here. The next category we're going to look at is verb plus me, like give me, and this becomes gimme, like please can you give me a hand? Or let me, and this becomes lemme, like let me help you with that. The next category we're going to look at is word plus of. For example, kind of, and this becomes kinda, like Chris's lesson was kinda interesting, wasn't it? Maybe. The next one is loads of, which becomes loadsa, and very similar to that, lots of, which becomes LOADSA. For example, we had loads of fun last night, didn't we? Yeah, there were lots of people out, weren't there? And the next one is out of, which becomes OUTTA, like that party got a bit out of hand, didn't it? And if you watch my previous lesson on idioms, you will know what out of hand means. If not, you can watch it here. And the last one in this category is sort of, which becomes SORTA, like that tennis match was sort of boring, wasn't it? And there's one last one that I want to look at that's in a category of its own, really, and that's isn't it, which becomes INNIT, like it's nice that place, innit? Or innit cold there in winter? So those are some of the most common reduced forms that you will hear from native speakers a lot. So it's very important to understand the sounds of these words so that you can understand them when you hear them. And if you really want to get to an advanced and proficient level, try to get them into your vocabulary and start using them as well. And now, like usual, at the end of the lesson, we're going to do a practical exercise where you can get involved. So I'm going to give you some sentences without any reductions in them, and I would like you to have a think about them and think how you can reduce some of the words to make it sound more native and more conversational. So the first sentence is, I could have done it if I had had time. So you can pause the video now if you want to have a little think about it. So a more native way of saying this is, I could have done it if I'd had time. My next sentence is, I really want to go there, but I'm not going to. And a more native way of saying this is, I really want to go there, but I'm not gonna. My next sentence is, please can you let me know what kind of lesson you want? Now, a more native way of saying this is, please can you let me know what kind of lesson you want? My last sentence is, I have really got to do some work. Please can you give me a hand? And a more native way of saying this is, I've really got to do some work. Please can you give me a hand? I thank you very much for watching this lesson today. I hope you found it useful and interesting. If you have any ideas for future lessons, for things that you would like to learn, please leave a comment below the video. And if you like the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. It will help me a lot and it will ensure that I can keep making these videos for you. Cheers.